What's up? Welcome into your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Tuesday, the Rare Tuesday sighting, November 21st, 2023. Let's get into it. Late again. God damn it. Technical issues. God damn it. Anyway, apologies. Let's get into it. We're talking Buckeye football, getting ready for the game every day that we creep closer. The butterflies get a little stronger, a little bit more of them. The tension ratchets up every time Jim Harbaugh opens his mouth and says something fucking stupid. You can't help but laugh because it's just, weirdo nonsense every day, but it just intensifies the hype for this weekend, and it's crazy. Don't forget, you can join our squares pool for the game. $10 per square. We have 25 squares. I think we've got about 17 left, something like that. So send me $10 through Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. All those are in the description, in the show notes below the video. So the payout is $50 for each quarter and $50 for the final. No overtime payouts. And you get two numbers. That's the beauty of this smaller board with only 25 squares. Each square you buy gets two numbers for each team. So you get two for Michigan, two for Ohio State. So you can double your winnings there as opposed to the larger boards. The final numbers will be randomly drawn when the board fills up or right at kickoff. And then I'll post a screenshot of the board and what numbers everybody has, so you know where you're at and where you stand. So again, $10 per square, and hit me at Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal down in the description below. All right, we're going live Wednesday as usual and Friday as usual this week. Just a programming note for you. Obviously off Turkey Day. And I'll probably be pretty sloppy about this time on Turkey Day anyways. So I'll just drool all over the microphone and pick my nose and eat them like somebody else we know. All right, so let's get into it. We're talking Buckeye offense versus the Michigan defense. I want to start with the running game first. I want to go to Trey Henderson. I want to talk about him. And especially over the last few weeks since he's come back from injury, he's really stepped it up. Excuse me. He's had success running, especially to the left end, what PFF has, like off left tackle or off the tight end, even on the left side, even further out. So those stretch plays that we see a lot of. He's really done a lot of his damage there, also to the right side. But as far as yardage goes, outside the left tight end in the formation, he's run for 293 yards. He averages 13 yards a carry off that left end. So you see why Ryan Day might, even though it might be into the boundary at times, why he likes going left. And we'll get into our run blocking and things like that in a sec. But then to the right side, the right end, outside the right tight end, he's running for 192, a 6.6 yard average, has one tackle. But off that left end that I talked about, he has 5 touchdowns. That's where he's really making his hay. And he has his most carries of more than 10 yards, 7 carries, yards after contact, 9.64 off that left edge. So 9 forced missed tackles. So Trey loves that left side off of the tackle or the tight end side. So that is probably the direction he wants to hammer, and gets those big home run plays. Other than that, he's pretty middle of the road, nothing exciting along the, between the tackles, really. Left guard 43, middle left, like left of the center 54, right of the center 67, right guard, off the right guard 41. So yeah, nothing exciting. So that left side, no matter where it's at on the field, against the boundary or to the field, that's prime pickings for the Buckeye offense. And I think you got to give Josh Simmons some partial credit for that as well. He's really stepped his game up in the last few weeks. I want to talk about him. So let's go check on Trey's numbers here. So over the last 4 weeks here, he's really dialed it up this past week. So he's only played in 8 games. This will be his 9th game going into Michigan. So he should be rested and ready. Only had 13 carries last week. I'm sorry, 15, then 13 the week before that, 22 against Rutgers, 24 against Wisconsin. But look at these yardages. So he took 5 weeks off between Notre Dame and Wisconsin, week 4 to week 9. There was a bye week in there, of course, but still, that's 5 weeks to rest your body and get right. But when he came back with a flurry against Wisconsin, 24 carries, 162 yards and a touch. Then against Rutgers, 22 carries, 128 yards and a touch. Michigan State, 13 carries, 63 yards and a touch. Against Minnesota, 15 carries, 146 yards and a touch. Now you see the reason that he only had 63 yards against Michigan State is because he did not have one of those breakaway runs, those big time runs where he's had one in every other game this year. He had one against Indiana. I'm only talking Power 5. We're not talking Youngstown State and Western Kentucky. One against Notre Dame, 3 against Wisconsin, 2 against Rutgers. Like I said, 0 against Michigan State, 2 against Minnesota. So when he gets those breakaway runs, man, it really impacts his stats and his numbers, and obviously helps the Buckeyes on the scoreboard, if nothing else. Another key is carries of more than 10 yards. He had 3 last week, 1 against Michigan State, 4 against Rutgers, 5 against Wisconsin. And then, of course, the missed tackles have been off the charts since he's come back from injury. Against Wisconsin, 6 missed tackles. Rutgers, 6 missed tackles. 5 against Michigan State. 2 against Minnesota. That's, not bad, but he's getting it done, and his yards after contact have been really strong. So he's had 4.38 against Wisconsin, 2.55. That's a little lesser against Rutgers, 3 against Michigan State, but then 7.4 against Minnesota. So Trey is getting it done, not only in the running game, but also the passing game as well. You've seen him with a couple catches, like big catches, like 2 for 26, 2 for 14, 5 catches against, is that Rutgers? Yeah, 5 catches, for 80 yards. That's where he can make up. If he's not moving the ball on the ground, he can help through the air. So, and then he had 4 catches, against Wisconsin when he came back. So that's huge, being a threat through the air and on the ground. He loves those wheel routes down the right sideline where he can catch the ball over a linebacker's shoulders. He's excellent at that. So, and his pass pro has been really good. He's really strong at pass protection, and we need to maintain that. So that's Trey as far as the running game goes. I want to talk about Josh Simmons. His run blocking started off really shaky this year, and his penalties. Obviously, that's been his calling card. Last year, as a redshirt freshman at San Diego State, he was the most penalized person in the country. Well, he's really cut that down. He does have 7 on the year, but he had 2 against Youngstown State early in the season. And then since Wisconsin, he hasn't had a penalty yet. That's 3 weeks in a row with no penalties. He actually has 5 games this year with 0 penalties. Now, that's like a low bar, I know, but his run blocking has improved gradually throughout the year. Notre Dame, it was still pretty shaky at 58, but then Maryland, 76. He's up in the close to 70 against Purdue, Penn State. Wisconsin, he fell back. Rutgers, 70. Michigan State, he did have a bad day at 53. But then Minnesota, he comes back with an 82 and match that up with, he's had 1, 2, those don't count. Against Power 5 teams, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4 games of over 70 in pass blocking. That by far is one of the best on this team. And he's really improved drastically as far as pressures. He's only allowed, he has allowed 11. That's not great. 3 against Indiana, still getting his feet wet. 2 against Penn State. That's a legit defense. 2 against Maryland. No excuse for that. 2 against Notre Dame. 1 against Rutgers. 1 against Wisconsin. But he has not allowed a sack. That's saying something when your left tackle has not allowed a sack all year. That's legit. So anyways, back to the run game. I feel really good about the Buckeye run game, but let's look at the team up north and their defense matching up against the run. So you got leading the way in tackles against the run, Junior Colson, the linebacker. He's got 22 on the year, just 1 missed tackle. He does have 24 assists. Mason Graham's got 18 tackles. The interior D lineman, Chris Jenkins, 17. So you see the interior getting most of the tackles in the running game on running backs. And these guys are all grading out like insane numbers, over 70, which is really good. Mason Graham an 81. That's on the year. He's grading an 81 against the run. Now, where you get a little dicey and where things might get a little loose for the Wolverines are missed tackles. Ernest Hausman, 3 missed tackles. This is just against the run now. Keep that in mind. Michael Barrett, linebacker, 3 missed tackles. Derek Moore, edge rusher, 2 missed tackles. Mason Graham, 2 missed tackles on the interior. Jaden Hood has 2 missed tackles. He's a linebacker. And Makari Page, the safety, has 2. Braden McGregor, the edge, has 2. And you got a bunch of guys with just 1. So some guys that maybe aren't the grease tacklers like Michael Barrett, stops. Let's look at stops. That's basically a no gain, stopping the running back for no gain. Mason Graham leading the way. This guy's like probably the best in the country. 17 stops. Chris Jenkins, 15. Rayshawn Benny, 13. He's another interior guy. Edge guy, 13. Braden McGregor. Junior Colson, the linebacker, 13. Derek Moore, 12. He's also an edge. Michael Barrett, 11. These are all stops on the season. So these guys are guaranteed getting you at least 1 stop each per game, at least. And their stop rate is insane. Mason Graham, his stop rate's 14.2%. That's an insane percentage. Rayshawn Benny, 13. Chris Jenkins, 11.9. And Braden McGregor, 11.1. So around 10% for some of the other guys that I mentioned. So stop rate is huge. And these guys, they don't get many penalties. You got about 8 guys with a penalty. So they're very well coached, very disciplined, and they don't miss a lot of plays is kind of the gist there. All right. So now let's go to, that was Trey. Oh, I forgot to touch on, did I talk about, I talked about Trey's missed tackles. Forced missed tackles are huge. So when you pair that up with who is missing tackles for Michigan, keep an eye on that. Those linebackers, Michael Barrett versus Trey. You kind of like Trey in that situation, right? So let's talk Kyle. Kyle, let's look at what he's done over the last 4 weeks, and then we'll get into the receivers. Kyle's really been steady Eddie. I don't know how you can complain about him, except for the Wisconsin game. He had 2 INTs there, but then he comes back against Rutgers, has 3 touchdowns, 1 more pick. Michigan State, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Minnesota, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And his completion percentage has been really strong. Against the Power 5 teams, I'm not going to count Youngstown State and Western Kentucky, but against Power 5 being Big Ten plus Notre Dame, he's really done well. Now, 60% against Indiana. Against Notre Dame, he was down around 54%, but had no picks. Again, didn't have a touchdown either, but had 240 yards, led the game-winning drive. Against Maryland, threw for 320, 63% clip, 2 touchdowns. Purdue came back down to 55%, not his best day, but then 63% against Penn State. That's huge. Again, no picks. 73% against Rutgers, 77% against Michigan State, and then 67% against Minnesota. So the point being, the last 3 weeks, he's really put it together, been efficient, clean Kyle. Against Rutgers, he did only throw for 189, but again, 3 touchdowns. He's making fewer turnover worthy throws. He's not putting the ball in harm's way as much over the last few weeks. So doing well, grading out really well, especially the Michigan State game, and almost a 70 against Minnesota, against Purdue an 80, Maryland a 76. So Kyle's getting it done through the air, being efficient, not big plays. I know he's not making big time throws. He made 4 against Michigan State, none against Minnesota, none against Rutgers, none against Penn State. But he's not putting the ball in harm's way either. And he's had a ton of drops by his receivers. 15 drops on the year by his receivers. That's horrendous. Jesus, I can't contemplate that. But anyway, so let's look at the receivers here. We'll start with Marv, of course. Let me get a drink of water. That's pure gasoline. All right, Marv, been quiet the last couple of weeks. He had 9 targets against Michigan State, only 6 this past week against Minnesota. I don't know what Ryan Day has in mind when they're going to bracket Marv and run a 2-deep safety look, but he's got to have some way, a different route combination. Maybe they check down and he runs something underneath, where you can still get the ball to Marv and he has man coverage, even though the safety's over the top. So there has to be something. Ryan Day has to have something in the bag to still get the ball to Marv, underneath when there's a safety over the top, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, Marv, only 3 catches on 6 targets last week, 7 catches on 9 targets, had almost $150 against Michigan State, 4 catches on 7 targets against Rutgers. Then he went 4 weeks in a row with 10 targets, 15, 13, 13. And then again, had another spell against Notre Dame with only 7 targets. So I don't know. They got to come up with another way to get him the ball if teams are going to bracket cover him or have a safety deep. He has lined up in the slot quite a bit, especially against Purdue and Penn State. Penn State, he lined up 14 times in the slot. So of his, let's see, total snaps. Where's his total snaps? Well, he's had 65 in the slot, 267 out wide. So those are his alignments. And then yak yards, we always like to look at the yak yards after catch. He has 6.5 yak yards per reception. Not great for a premier wide receiver, but at least it's something. It tells you that, he's getting away from the defensive back in coverage. So that's good. Emeka, I wanted to talk about him. He's coming back from injury as well. He's only played in 8 games. So he was out from Notre Dame to Maryland, and really was showcased in the offense this past week against Minnesota. 8 targets, only 3 against Michigan State. He was still knocking off the rust, 5 against Rutgers, 4 against Maryland. So he definitely wasn't 100% for those 3 games, but I think he looks really close to 100% now. Had the big game against Notre Dame in crunch time, 7 catches on 10 targets, almost 100 yards. And let's check his yak. 6.4, so he's right in there with Marv. Should be better in my opinion, but only has credited with 1 drop on the season. So Mr. Reliable, and they've been incorporating those pop passes on the jet sweeps and stuff with him. So I love that. Good to get him in there and moving around the offense. So let's look at Michigan's pass coverage. Their number 1 graded corner is their slot, Mike Sanders, still at 74. Now, teams do come after him. Okay. Hold up. Coverage targets. Teams do go after Mike Sanders still. He is the most targeted corner on their team. 36 targets on the year. He's allowed 18 catches. That's 50%. He's allowed 322 yards, but 3 touchdowns. He does have 5 picks. So if you don't hit the window perfectly, he's going to get his hands on it. He also has 4 PBUs, which I believe leads the team as well. So you better be pinpoint accurate if you're throwing it his way. And it's feast or famine with him. Anyway, then Josh Wallace. He is opposite of Will Johnson. Josh Wallace is targeted 26 times on the year, 11 receptions. He's allowed just over 100 yards, though, and hasn't allowed a touchdown. Then Will Johnson, the all-world, he's supposed to be the best corner in the country, supposedly. 25 targets, 12 catches, 48% receptions, and 2 picks, 2 PBUs. So just checking on the chat, make sure we got no infiltrators. All right. So anyway, back to the Michigan coverage grades here. One sec. Okay. Now, when you start looking at linebackers, this is where Trey versus a linebacker matchup is key and could be exploited. Michael Barrett targeted 19 times, allows 13 catches, 68% completions, 100 yards, does have 1 PBU. So look for Trey to take advantage of that in the screen game or those wheel routes. That could be huge. The other linebacker, Ernest Hausman, 17 targets, 14 catches allowed, 82% completion percentage. But again, both of those guys have not allowed a touchdown. Rod Moore, safety, he's targeted 15 times, allowed a touchdown, has a pick, and 2 PBUs. So there are areas where you can take advantage of these Michigan, I would say, linebackers. Junior Colson's another one, 15 targets, 13 catches. I mean, obviously that's the matchup offensive coordinators try to get. They try to get your tight ends, running backs matched up with a linebacker where they can take advantage of them. And Michigan's linebackers, to me, look like they can be taken advantage of. But Sanders still, I think, will probably be on Marv. I mean, on Mecca, and Will Johnson will probably be on Marv. We'll see if they travel with both receivers or if they just line up on their half of the field, boundary or field, like the Buckeyes do. So linebackers definitely can get got. With the corners, you better be accurate, pinpoint accurate if you're throwing the ball their way. Did want to check yards per reception. Yes, Sanders still has allowed 17.9 yards per reception. That leads his team. Who else here? Will Johnson's allowed 14.5. Makari Page, he doesn't really do a lot of coverage. He's allowed 12. He's a safety. Quentin Johnson allowed 10.6 per catch. So there are plays out there to be made. You got to be sure about them. And then in the pass game, yeah, missed tackles are not really a factor in the pass game. You got a few here, but nothing crazy. So we got to talk the Buckeye O-line, pass blocking versus Team Up North pass rush, right? Let me clear out some of these windows here. All right. Pass blocking for the Buckeyes. Here we go. 1 sec. All right. So Josh Simmons over the season, #1 graded out O lineman, 86.4. Oh, wait, shit. That's from the freaking Minnesota game. My bad. Hold up. I was going to say, that's a hell of a grade. I don't think he is that good. Okay, here we go. Pass blocking. Matthew Jones, best on the team, a 77.5. And I'm scrolling. Josh Fryer, 74. Josh Simmons, 73.6. Donovan Jackson, 72.2. And you don't want to know where Hinsman is. Trust me. I'm still scrolling. Anyway, Hinsman's a problem. Anyway, they're going to try and come right up the gut against us. That should be obvious. But pressures, Carson Hinsman leads the team. Of course, 16. He's got to be stout this game. This has to be his best game by far on the season. He's grading out a 40 pass blocking. Remember, 60 is average, doing your job. So he's allowed 16. Josh Fryer, the right tackle, 11. Josh Simmons has allowed 11, the left tackle. But Hinsman and Simmons have not allowed a sack. Donovan Jackson, 9 pressures, no sacks. And Matthew Jones, 3 pressures, no sacks. So, and then your pass blocking, running backs, Travion doing really well. Chip needs to be better. Travion on the year is almost a 70. That's really good. Has only allowed 2 pressures, no sacks. So Chip has allowed a sack. So pass blocking is good. Just has to be its best, especially right up the middle with the strong Michigan interior D line. So, all right, let's go to the chat, see what's going on. All right, who's in first? We got Billy. Billy's in first. What up? Go Bucks to Billy. Odysseus. Ayo, sir. Oh. Tyler, what's up? It is hate week. LLC gang, what's up? Yes, sir. Yep, 4 days, Tyler, 4 days, man. Odysseus says the booger eater has an Oedipus complex on top of being on the spectrum. Yeah, he's got a lot going on up there. Could you imagine being his therapist? Oh, man, you need like 5 therapists. I wouldn't let one person take that job on by themselves. I may have to get up and answer the door here in a second. We have a maintenance or air conditioning guy coming in to maintain the AC. Travis, what's up? Y'all see the college football nerds both picked OSU to win? No, that never happens. Yeah, it doesn't make me feel good, Travis. That is really weird. Billy says, go nerds. Billy, a lot of people were down on Trey earlier this year. Odysseus says they seem to buy into the effect of the cheating scandal. Yeah, maybe. Odysseus says, unlike Jeff Saturday. Yeah, exactly. Who talks about their mom's bathing suits? Odysseus brings up. Weird. But he's trying to be relevant, talking about Ted Lasso. I never watched it, but Harbaugh's trying to be hip. Billy, can't trust anybody who's named after a day. That's right. Pam says, let's go Bucks. Let's take those cheaters down. I'm with you, Pam. Odysseus says Jimmy Josh will be a top second round pick when Fry's done with him. I hope so. Jimmy Simmons, Josh Simmons, whatever he's going by nowadays. He's done a really good job. I mean, he's really cut down on those penalties. That was the biggest pain in the ass. And still hasn't allowed a sack. Now, we'll see what happens this week. Jeremiah. Oh, Odysseus had a question. Kang, hold up. JJ hurt. Silver bullets will be able to get to him. Yeah, if JJ's on a bum ankle, like they're saying, that could be a big problem for them. How are the grades pre and post Stallions? That's a good question. When did Stallions actually get fired? One second. Yeah, I would have to go double check. When did Stallions get fired? Or when did he leave the team or whatever? I'd have to look at a schedule. Oh, I might have that, actually. Harbaugh. I just have before and after, yeah, of the seasons, not the games. I don't know. I'd have to check and see when he actually left the team officially. Jeremiah says, "Hey Joe, are you ready for the Buckeyes to get the biggest win over the Urinines?" That's a tough one to say, man. In quite a number of years, probably not since 2019 has this game mattered more. Yeah. Odysseus says it's easy to be disciplined when you know it's coming. And yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see how these grades change for some of these guys. If I could figure out when Stallions left. But they still have the info, don't they? Michigan still has all their laminated sheets and everything. So I would think they still kept all that crap, right? Unless the NCAA confiscated it somehow, which that'd be weird. Yeah, Billy says Day will have plays we haven't seen all year. I agree. Josh has Buckeyes 27, sick again, 14. McCord, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marv, 1 TD, 109. Mecca, 65 yards. Tate yards, 61 and a touchdown. Stover, 52 yards. Henderson, 118 yards and a TD. D will have 1 interception, go for field goal and punt or kick return. Okay. A block, field goal, punt, or kick return. I like that. Or you're saying about a return touchdown. I got you. Josh says returner will have a good run back that leads to field goal. Billy says just don't want our special teams to be a liability. Yeah. I feel really confident about the rest of the team. Hey, don't forget to hit the like button, por favor. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Shaman, what's up? It's been war for me with some up north fans already. Good. Fight the good fight. Glad to hear it. Josh says we need to make sure they get pumped before the game last year where we were saying have fun while Michigan was having a crunk party getting hyped on sidelines. We got to match the energy going into the game. Yes, I agree. Yeah, Shaman says, sure, Day about to open up the playbook. I like that. Odysseus says, hard to gauge their pass D when the first top 50 pass offense they faced torched them. Yeah, exactly. Josh says, we should run a lot of screens to slow down the pass rush and want to see Trey and another running back go wildcat in red zone. Okay. Give direct snap to Henderson, and there's no stopping it. I think you will see some of the split backs like we've been running lately with Trey and Chip on both sides of Kyle. I think that adds another level of surprise, you know. So I think you'll see that. And then, of course, the screen game is awesome. Billy says, JJ, not a great pocket passer, keep him contained. with Jack and JT. That's right. You got to do that whole pass rush with a purpose, not just going wild man out there and running as fast as you can up the field and blowing by the quarterback. You got to, rush with some contain ability and try and keep him in the pocket and limit those lanes that open up, between the guard and tackle where he can scoot in there. You got to, kind of watch the quarterback while you're rushing at the same time. Kang says, I feel like Ryan Day is showing great leadership growth and how he's pulling the strings, make sure the players are hitting their marks and developing great players. Yeah, I agree. He's really worked this season to be peaking right now, week 12, and we are, in my opinion. Travis says Josh Wallace is food. That's the matchup we want to exploit. Yes, sir. He's the fish. Exactly, Tyler. Billy says, if our O-line plays well, the game is ours. I agree. Decius agrees. Josh says there has to be some kind of red zone package to take advantage of everyone because we have to get some type of points every time we get in the red zone. Exactly. Devin is healthy. He will be back. What percentage of healthy is he? I don't know. Sorry, I had to check a message. So, yeah. Do you go with a 90% Devin Brown in the red zone, or do you stick with the running backs? Or do you throw the ball? I mean, Marv is out there, right? A fade in the back corner, one-on-one. Seems like a winning proposition to me. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they go with a Trey, Chip and Trey, or Devin and Trey, something like that inside the red zone. But yeah, Devin will be suited up, and they said that he had a brace on his ankle, but it wasn't as big this past week as it was the prior week, so he should be getting healthy. Odysseus says, unfortunately, true. Don't think they're as effective cracking the code without Stallions. It appears they did versus Maryland in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Oh, Steven Stopolsky's got a score. 26-16. Okay. That sounds familiar. Let me add that to the list. Don't forget, get your scores in for the game. Get them in before game time, and you're entered to win the T-shirt contest. Steven, all right. I've got scores for Buckeye 70-84 of 27-9. Doug Shepard, I got 31-0. Odysseus 24-10. Kang 45-0. Matthew 28-17. Ryan D's Beard 28-17. Ohio Buckeye Mark with a C 49-6. Tyler, I got 49-0. Billy 2013. Tyrone 28-24. Stephen Cherry 30-17. JoeWarwick 31-20. Tanya Smith 31-17. The Pookie and Ray Ray Show 35-10. Dale Lemmings 34-17. Johnny C, I got 27-20 for him. And then Stephen S 26-16. So don't forget to get your scores in. We go by total points. Whoever is closest to the number wins a free T-shirt. Free T-shirt number 12 will be going out. Can't believe we sent out that many. Let's see. Billy says, I wonder if Knowles will put a spy on JJ and obvious passing down. Sounds like Sonny's job. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what different assignments they have for Sonny. you know, because he moves around a lot. He could be deep. You're going to have Proctor back there. Without Ransom, you're going to have Sonny probably up by the line of scrimmage. We need Proctor to play well, please. Don't miss any tackles. Don't go for the kill shots, please. Just get the dudes to the ground. Don't get beat. Odysseus says, what about Keenhol's red zone package? He's more a running threat. I don't know if he has the size, though. He's not as big as Devin Brown. And Devin Brown, from what we saw in that red zone package, he put his face mask in a linebacker's chest. So the fear is not there. I think Lincoln's a little slimmer. He's like 200 pounds, where Devin's like, what, 215-ish, somewhere in there. I would feel better with Devin, and he's got bigger legs. He's more of almost a running back style build, kind of like a JT Barrett, maybe not as big an ass, but I like Devin over Lincoln there. Billy says, don't think Day would trust that with a freshman. Yeah, that's a big situation, man. Odysseus says Sonny needs to cover their tight end on passing downs. Yeah, we're going to cover a couple tight ends too. Yeah. Jeremiah, just to be able to beat them on their field, humiliate them, because the humiliation to come after the season is going to be epic. Yeah. Yeah, it's not sounding good, is it? But at least Harbaugh will be off to the NFL, so he doesn't have to worry about it, right? RDB, Ryan Day's beard, just got off work. Middle finger to the cheaters up north. I'm with you. Josh has 27-14. I will copy that down right now. 27-14. Okay. Don't forget to get in the squares pool if you're interested. Let's go back to the chat. Jeremiah Yoder has 45-7 Buckeyes. We copy that. All right. Billy says we can send the TCUN back into the dark ages. Let's do it. I'm with you there. Yeah, Josh says Devin does run mean. He's hungry. I think so too. Yeah. He's not afraid to stick his helmet in there. Travis is 20-13 taken. Let me check. 20. Yeah, Billy has 20-13. You can take it as well. If you guys win, then I got to send out 2 freaking shirts, but that's fine. Billy says, if you win the t-shirt this week, Jeremiah, you're forever my hero. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a problem, Travis, if you want 20-13 too. It's your call. Pam says, hopefully G. Scott got a talking to last year in that big headbutting penalty that changed the whole momentum of the game last year. I agree, Pam. I'm sure he learned his lesson. But that play should be a message to the entire team. You know, do not fall for their bullshit. They're trying to set you up. They're trying to bait you with the tunnel, the one tunnel, the locker rooms being right next to each other. They're trying to bait you into doing something stupid and getting a personal foul. G. Scott fell for it last year. You got to learn from that. And you can play with emotion, but don't let emotion play with you. Ryan Day always says that. So got to be smart. You got to be freaking smart. One play like that, like Pam just pointed out, can change the momentum of a game. You know, Travis, 21-13. Let me check. 21. No, 21-13 is not taken. It's all yours, Travis. Got it copied down. All right. Josh says, I saw a video of Michigan stepping up to OSU players in tunnel, like you said, and then that happened. Yeah, exactly. And we saw the fight with Michigan State last year. They've got to do something different there. I don't know what the solution is. Make another doorway to the locker room. I don't know. There has to be another option, you know. Just added security. If Michigan is dumb enough to not have added security for this game, then this could be a big problem. So it could be pretty nuts if they don't bring in like some extra cops, ton of security guards. I want to see a ton of those, and we'll see what happens. But they gotta have like cops in that tunnel separating the players so that we don't have an all-out war down there, you know. And then on the field as well, protecting the players from the fans. And you definitely, if you're a Buckeye, keep your helmets on 24/7 or for the entire game, because people will be launching stuff from the stands. Odysseus says they're such cowards, and it's obviously coached by Hairball to start fights. Yes, yeah, you got to rise above it, turn the other cheek, whatever it takes. Can't have penalties and stuff like that. Pam says, would love to blow them out, but since the game is in the big house, I'll go 28-21. All right, Pam, I got you. 28-21. Don't forget the Buckeyes are an underdog officially for this game. Let me see what the spread is. I think it's still 3.5, 3. I got 3 now. Over under 46.5. Oh yeah. So give you our scores on Sunday night. Sean took 27-20. Jeff has 23-16, and I have 20-13. We're not involved in the t-shirt contest, so I think low scoring affair, but Buckeyes pull it out, and I love being an underdog. What's Urban always say? You want a pissed off team? Well, there's some motivation. That's right, Steven. Steven Cherry's in. Says it's hate week. Fuck the team up north. RDB says Zach Smith said today he heard Michigan has more security coming, and OSU is taking 6 security guards with them. Also, the Big Ten wants a detailed plan for the tunnel. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to change things, but the plan is there will be fights. Travis says if OSU wins 2013, I'll purchase a shirt from Joe. Hey, I'll take you up on that, Travis. Josh says, what year was there problems after the game and a riot or a big group of people destroying stuff when I was young? I don't know. A riot after the game? I don't remember that. That had to be a long time ago. Billy says the Michigan man is proven to be a Neanderthal. Props to Billy for spelling Neanderthal. I never would have got that. Travis says, I'm more worried about Stallions on some sniper shit than I'm worried about their players wanting smoke. I know. That is concerning. Not necessarily just Stallions doing that, but some other super fan, you know, that has Jim Harbaugh underwear and shit like that. So that is a concern. Back to the chat. Spell check job. Steven says, I love the shit talking, but just don't cross the line and get kicked out of the game, right? And don't get a penalty call. You know, we don't need a personal foul 15-yarder that, you know, extends a drive for Michigan or something like that, like the G. Scott thing Pam brought up earlier. You know, we can't have that. Jeremiah says, would love to see the Buckeyes prove all the doubters wrong, like Desmond Coward, Colin Coward, and the other cowards for those cheating bastards. Yep. Lots of cowards out there in the media. Huh? Yep. I think Wednesday and Friday we'll take some calls. If anybody wants to call in, give me your 2 cents. Tell me how you think the game is going to go. We'll be live 4:30 usual time, Wednesday and Friday, and you'll get your daily blitz usual on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, of course. So Travis says, like that BS targeting call against Clemson, can't have that Saturday. No. And hopefully the Big Ten refs are going to keep it fair, let them play, but keep it clean. Maybe even maybe share I don't know, just keep it clean. How about that? Even Steven down the middle. RDB says, I want them to win so bad. It will relieve so much stress off this team, coaches, and fan base. Yes, exactly. Billy says Cowherd is an absolute joke. Klatt is heading in that direction. I agree. Klatt kind of trumpeting the psycho wing of the Michigan fan base with his due process bullshit. Yeah, Odysseus says Cowherd is a clown. Started the whole Marv to USC crap, right? Steven says, don't force feed a Harrison. We have multiple weapons. Exactly. I think if they're going to run a 2-deep safety look and share or shade one safety over to Marv's side, you're just going to open up those crossers over the middle, that we haven't seen much of till recently. So I think you're opening up area for Trey to take a little dump off pass over the middle, a Mecca, whoever. And I think the last thing that Michigan wants to see is Trey in the open field with the ball. That's a recipe for disaster for them. Billy says, if Cowherd can talk college football, I'm giving golf lessons. Are you a good golfer, Billy? What's your handicap? Ray, what's up? Says, I think Day needs them to instill the thought that this is just another game, and I think the players will respond better. Don't come in too jacked or nervous. Tell the players to remember how they loading. Rest of your message is not loading, Ray. Travis says we absolutely must be able to run the ball, and when they're in too high safeties, if not, it'd be a long day. Yeah, exactly. That's when you got to hit those edges. Get away from that interior where all those guys are all their best D linemen are. Get away from those interior D linemen. Get outside, right side, left side, whatever, and exploit those edges with Trey. Run the stretch, whatever you want to do. I don't care. We'll see. Okay, Billy broke 100 one time without any mulligans. That's respectable. Ray's continuing. Remember how they felt going into the game against Michigan State or Minnesota, or maybe even how they felt going into Penn State. Yeah. Pam says, I'm so sick of seeing this crap about Ryan Day's brother hiring a PR or PI. I know. They're still on that, and even their board of regent members are on that, retweeting that and stuff. It's like, are you serious? Anybody from the state of New Hampshire that's a private eye is related to Ryan Day now. It's fucking amazing. It's really continuing to go off the rails. It's not stopping anytime soon. I was just refreshing the message board, see if anything new. has popped up. The latest breaking rumor is that another coach was supposed to be fired today, but I just saw that on a message board. I don't know how accurate that is. Apparently the Michigan boards are going off and going crazy. So, well, another day in the life, right? Steven says Day should have his brother on the sidelines just to fuck with Michigan. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Josh says, I don't think they should play like it's just another team because you will get beat then. This game is who wants it more every year. Yeah. Billy says, funny how Michigan fans still call him Crying Day after Moore's performance. That was an Oscar-winning performance, wasn't it? Yeah, Ray, I'm with you. Don't take the bait. Odysseus says Day's family had a lawsuit against the university. Good. They should. They're just Michigan was just like stoking the flames, you know. And death threats are no laughing matter. I don't care how serious you are or not. All right, Travis, have a good dinner. Have an after dinner shot on me. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, folks. Hey, on the way out, please hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget, if you want to get in the football pool, just send me $10, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, whatever works for you, and we'll get you in, get you registered. All right. I'm on my way out the door myself. We're going to see you tomorrow, same time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 1:30 out there on the left coast for Billy, Odysseus, I believe, and PC. So don't forget, we'll be taking calls Wednesday and Friday. So talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Go Bucks.